we're getting the guys that are getting named starters. Most of them have made a lot of sense. You're going to give Trey Lance some time to work it out really raw. We'll go more into that. Jameis Winston, we'll get more into that. But I want to start with Teddy Bridgewater. Getting the starting knob over Drew Lock, a guy who they drafted in the second round, expected him to be their franchise quarterback. Last offseason, they were all the way in on him. This year, obviously, I thought the Bridgewater move, I liked it to push Drew Lock to be the starter. But for whatever reason, probably talent, probably, you know what you're getting with Teddy Bridgewater. They decide to make Teddy Bridgewater the starter. Really interesting here. Drew Lock still in his third year, still super young. Mike, what are your thoughts on naming Teddy Bridgewater the starting quarterback of the Broncos?
Yeah, I'm with you, Ryan. I thought Teddy Bridgewater was more of a mentor for Drew Lock to build him up to be a starting quarterback. I think Teddy Bridgewater is a better quarterback than Drew Lock at the moment. He didn't play bad in Carolina at all, but I also don't think Drew Lock is a terrible quarterback. I think he has a ton of potential under his belt, and a guy like Teddy Bridgewater is the perfect guy to mentor him and build him up to an NFL quarterback. And I don't think Teddy Bridgewater is going to be the starting quarterback all season long. I think it's going to be Drew Lock, whether it's week 5 or week 10. But I think Drew Lock is going to become the starting quarterback of this team after Bridgewater. But I'm a fan of Bridgewater. I like what he brings to the table. I like how he plays as a quarterback and where his eyes go. I think they can succeed there. I think Teddy Bridgewater can succeed there. But I don't think he's the answer at all. I think Drew Lock is a young guy who, you said he's in his third year, and he has a lot of potential. His ceiling is endless as well, I think, and if the Broncos use him the right way and use Teddy Bridgewater the right way, they can really do anything they want. And like I said, I really do think Drew Lock is going to be the starting quarterback of this team, like in no time, maybe week 5. I'm saying.
Interesting.
The move makes no sense to me. I just don't get it from an organizational philosophy, and I think this is an organization that's been lost since Peyton Manning left.
Are you saying the move to take Teddy Bridgewater to be a starter, or
yes, for Teddy Bridgewater to be the starter? This makes no sense to me. I do not understand it, and I think that the issue starts with them putting too many eggs in the Drew Lock basket. Because when you look at the landscape of football and the National Football League and quarterbacks in particular, it's not to say that you can't find them outside the first round. But very rarely do you get a bona fide franchise quarterback by not drafting in the first round. Tom Brady is a once and a lifetime exception, and Russell Wilson a big exception. But when you're drafting guys back end of the second round, Drew Lock has a ton of talent, but quarterbacks are so overdrafted. Why is Drew Lock falling the second? I mean, there have to be some significant deficiencies, and for him, it's been some of the accuracy and the decision making, and completion percentage is a hot topic. And I don't think that that's necessarily for him all accuracy. It might be more of the understanding of the offense and reading defenses and finding the right place to go with the football. But his decision making at times has been off, and I think that that's been well established. That's the thing that's confusing to me. So I don't want to bring in Teddy Bridgewater to push Drew Lock, because if my understanding of Drew Lock is that he's my franchise quarterback, I shouldn't need to push him. Franchise quarterbacks don't need to be pushed. You don't need to bring in somebody else to get my franchise quarterback his head on straight and now start to perform. That's not how it works. So if Drew Lock wasn't your guy, then why did they pass on Justin Fields and Mac Jones? Because you had an excellent opportunity to draft two of the top quarterbacks in out of college football coming into this, two very decorated quarterbacks, and Mac Jones, a national champion, had as good a season as any college quarterback has ever had. I mean, he was outstanding, maybe just a touch below Joe Burrow when he won his national title. But, Justin Fields, multiple year starter and was in the national championship game. And nobody forgets how well he played against Clemson, leading them to that victory. Like, they had the opportunity to draft those guys, and they didn't, with, I guess, the understanding that Drew Lock was their guy going forward. Well, then how are you starting Teddy Bridgewater? None of this makes any sense. And if you're a Denver Broncos fan, you got to be throwing your hands up in the air. Like, what are we doing? Because none of this it's just, there is no way that this is, I don't know whether it's Vic Fangio who's been giving the autonomy to make this decision. I assume that it is, if it's George Payton, their general manager, but there is just no way that this decision can be made. If it is, it's a terrible look. And I guess that's what I'm getting at. It's a terrible look for the Denver Broncos organization, because if Drew Lock wasn't your guy, that's fine. bring in Teddy Bridgewater, but Teddy Bridgewater should be there mentoring Justin Fields or Mac Jones. It shouldn't be Teddy Bridgewater is going to beat out Drew Lock, and now this guy that we thought was going to be our franchise quarterback is sitting on the bench in year 3, and he's going to come back from this. No way. It's just a bad move. It's just it is a terrible look for the Broncos organization. They look lost, and I think Vic Fangio is going to be gone after this year anyway.
Yeah, it's irresponsible for sure. Since Peyton Manning, awful luck. Like, I've just done everything wrong. Here is why I think they did it, and it's something you just mentioned. I think Vic Fangio is also going after this year. And if he believes deep down that Teddy Bridgewater gives him a better chance to win right now, which I do believe, and this defense also, it's really good, but it's also getting up there. Kareem Jackson, Justin Simmons, Darby, Ford, Callahan, those are guys getting a little older. Von Miller, obviously, we know there. Like, if it's a playoff mandate to Vic Fangio, then he has to make this move. But from an organization standpoint, long term, why did you not draft a quarterback if you didn't believe in Drew Lock? Why did you do all the things you did, really? Like, there's not really cornerback. You're getting a corner of when you don't think you have a franchise quarterback. And they did that too when they drafted Drew Lock. If you believe a guy is a franchise quarterback, you don't wait till the second round to take him. That's kind of why I was always bullish on, or I wasn't really in on Drew Lock, because they drafted a tight end over him. I mean, if you're able to draft a guy over what you believe is a franchise quarterback, you clearly don't have the trust in him. So I get it from that perspective, but like, you kind of punted on this. You really dropped the ball here. I believe that, John Elway, legend playing for them, he did not do a great job. Peyton Manning covered up a lot of his flaws, and now I know he's on the way out. He's not really in that same leadership role. But yeah, the Broncos are a team where I think with the right quarterback, they could be really interesting. They've went all in on offense in the draft, signed a bunch of free agents, have an interesting roster, but the quarterback position is going to hold them back. Teddy Bridgewater, we know he has a floor stability, but he also has a very low ceiling. He's not going to go out there and win you shootouts. He's going to not turn the ball over. He's going to complete the ball at a high percentage, but he's not going to make the wow throws. So I think, it'd be interesting to see if they go back to Drew Lock. We'll see there.